orientation, who was former council chairman of Ondo East local government, former senior special assistant on political matters, former commissioner for culture and tourism, and yes, now he is the chair, is the honorary commissioner for information and orientation. Let me welcome Otumba Wale Akinlosotu. It's nice to have you join us.
Thank you very much, Sunday. Good to see you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Well, Ekiti State government is taking initiatives to arrest hunger. Right. Lagos State government is also doing the same. In fact, you find states with nothing to use as a form of land and all of those for agriculture, they're partnering other states. Everyone is moving to arrest hunger in their states. What's Ondo State government doing?
Ondo State is doing very well. First, let me thank you for this opportunity to talk about what's going on in Ondo State. Our governor, Lucky Orimiso, Ayedatiwa, is doing wonderfully well. We all understand what we're going through in the country. And let me say this though, it's not just only Nigeria. It's a global thing that everywhere, the Western world, they are feeling what we are feeling. It may not be as tough as we are feeling it, but we are feeling it anyway. In Ondo State, Mr. Governor has been very proactive. In the areas of agriculture, we are doing so many things. For example, in the Ministry of Agri, every Thursday, we allow the farmers to bring their wares to the ministry. It's a mini market. It's like a farmer's market that is built there. And every Thursday, they bring everything, tomatoes, corns, gari, rice, whatever, to that area. And they sell directly to the people. What does that do? And what does that mean? That cuts out the middleman. For example, I don't know why.
So there's a market now.
There's a market
in
now
the Ministry of Agriculture
in Accra,
where farmers can bring their wares
stuff
there. But on those states, Ministry of Agriculture does not have a farm, does it?
No, but
why?
I'll get to that. I'll get to that. Let me say this though. Unfortunately, I don't know why we do this. Sometimes we are the problem of ourselves. For example, you go to the market today to buy tomatoes, for example, for, let's say, 500 naira. And you go in the morning for 500 naira. You go in the afternoon, they may tell you that it's now 600 or 700 naira. What happens between the morning and the afternoon? That the price has gone up. And so sometimes we just arbitrary pricing. It's what's going on in the market. So the government, in our governor's proactiveness, is saying that let's have a test run on these Thursday markets, whereby farmers will be bringing their wares to the ministry. It's set up like a real market, and people can buy directly from there. And let's see how that can alleviate the sufferings and the problems of our people. Now, number two, another thing that Mr. Governor is doing is on Monday, during the State Executive Council meeting, the governor and the State Executive Council approved 1 billion naira to buy grains like rice, like gari, like bukuru, like beans, and all that. That we're going to have centers in the 3 senatorial districts that people can come down to and purchase directly from the government, and they will be saving 25% or something like that discount. And what does that do again? That means that the middlemen are cut off, and we're going to do it in such a way that nobody will be able to take advantage of that and buy from the government and go and sell it again. You know our people, we are very creative when it comes to that, but we're going to try our best to make sure that we find a way to work around that so that the system is not abused. We all understand that. Again, on Monday, Mr. Governor is encouraging all farmers, those people that have hectares and hectares of land. And, you know, clearing of land is very cumbersome and sometimes it's very expensive. So a lot of people might not have money to do that. Another 1 billion naira was approved to help those people that need to clear their farms so that they can farm. Another thing about food security is that it's about time now in Nigeria and in Ondo State for you and me to start farming. Now you're going to say, how can I farm when I'm here? But guess what? There are some technologies now that you can actually plant some things in a sack. You can plant your yam, your tomatoes, your peppers, all those things. In your backyard, you can do corn, and you can plant corn. And so if we all do that, that would be subsistence farming. If you are able to go to your yard, your farm, and get something to eat, and able to do that, get something to eat, that reduces the number of people that goes to the market.
So many things.
Hold on a second. Okay. It's a matter of demand and supply.
Of course.
When less people go to the market, they will be forced
to now reduce
their prices.
So many things we need to talk about, Honorable
Yes.
Commissioner. So maybe we move at a faster pace.
Okay.
Now, I did ask you a very important question. Right. You see, leadership is best by example.
Right.
So I asked him,
right,
where is the farm of the Ministry of Agriculture? Where is the farm of the Ondo State government? Okay. That we could say specifically that the government is leading by example, selling to people what is coming from the farm.
Sometimes it's not a good idea for the government to get involved
really?
with all these things. But the Ministry of Agri, we had a meeting yesterday. There's a plan in place. I'm not going to reveal that yet because it's not fully thought out yet. That the government is going to acquire some land that we're going to clear and do same thing that you're talking about. Okay.
Now the government is thinking about that.
It's coming up. It's something that is on the works that we're thinking about.
But the ones you've highlighted, I'm curious. Setting up a farm inside Alagbaka, that would cater for, at best, the people in Alagbaka and environs. Because I do not know who would come from Owo to come and buy there. I do not think people will come from Irene to come and buy there. I do not think people will come from Elijah to come and buy there. Will that not be a sucker just for a macroscopic feel in the meantime, before the maturity of your 2 billion naira you've talked about? Because you agree with me that this cannot just be within 2 days.
No, it's not going to be like that.
So
right now we're test running. It's a test run, really. I think it's 3 centers in the 3 senatorial districts. And we're going to have one in the northern senatorial district, one in the southern, and one in the central senatorial district. For example, the one in Akure, people from Ondo can come on a Sunday to just come and buy stuff that they want to buy. But eventually, Mr. Governor is looking into making it every local government. Okay. Every local government will have their own market that people can go to and buy at a discounted rate.
Why should it be the business of the state government to even see to that in the first place, if there are local governments?
Well, you see, the local government autonomy or something like that is very new. We have not actually started to do something about that. So I think the state government can help. The local government is part of the state. The governor is in charge of the state, is in charge of the local government. So we are going to empower the local government chairman. I was once a local government chairman, and I know how it is to be empowered so that we are the closest to the people, so that we can do stuff for the people.
We will come back to the issue of local government autonomy in the course of this conversation. I know you know that. But when Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa was being sworn in, just after he said swearing, he did say that he will complete the projects that were ongoing by his predecessor, late Governor Akeredolu. He did say too that he will ensure that the welfare of the people are his concern at every point in time. I mean, it's a concern at every point in time. So, is this the time for a new judiciary complex? What happens to the one that is being used currently? At a time like this, when hunger and all of these other issues are plaguing the nation, and indeed the state, if you agree with me, why are we majoring in the minor, as many people have done it?
Well, sir, you may probably think about it that way, but it's not like that. You see, government is a continuum.
I agree.
Unfortunately, we lost our former governor, Arakuni Oluwarotimi Akeredolu. May his soul rest in peace. Ever since our governor came to the seat, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, he promised that no project will be abandoned. And he has fulfilled, and he's still fulfilling that promise. For example, look at the flyover in Oyarebo. and that one is continuing. Look at the road network in Oda Road. That one, immediately he was sworn in, he called all the contractors to come back to site, and they came back to site and they're still there. They're working. And for those people that are living in Oda, it's not just ABC people that are living there. And so everybody is enjoying that road. The flyover, when completed, is going to be useful for everybody. Now, talking about the complex, about the judicial complex, I think it would be myopic if we think that we cannot improve on what we have already. Recently, our governor signed into law the bill that will allow us to appoint more judges in Ondo State. And if you look at the location where they are right now, when you look at what they're using right now, it's not going to be conducive anymore for them. So we are going to, Mr. Governor is thinking ahead. It's not thinking about today. He's thinking about tomorrow. He's thinking about next year. He's thinking about 10 years, 20 years. The development of Ondo State. You don't expect the same building, the same location of the judiciary to be what we will have in the next 10 years. Now he's being proactive, and that's why he's doing that. Now, the Justice Department is not just for the poor, it's not just for the rich, it's for every one of us. So if people, they say justice delayed is justice denied. So where we have a modern building that can cater to all these things and people get their cases prosecuted and done with on a record time, is to the benefit of everybody. So I think it's a good thing for
How about the timing?
Well, let me tell you, there's no time that's a good time. As a leader, you got to think about it. That, okay, just because this is happening right now, we cannot do this. We have to multitask. And he's doing that. He's looking at the future, not now. This will come and it will pass.
Of course, I agree with that.
So we cannot wait just
to pass on time.
And that's what he's doing right now.
Let's get to the grassroots again.
Okay.
I'm interested in the grassroots because I believe that the grassroots is actually the nucleus of democracy.
Exactly.
And so now in Ondo State, local government.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹjọ́ wà nílẹ̀ tí wọ́n ò rí dá torí adájọ́ ò tó ó jẹ́ kí ọ̀pọ̀.
That's why it's not that it's not going to happen.
So it's not seen that. It's just because you have not announced it.
Exactly.
But then, whichever, that's a matter of nomenclature or semantics. If you agree with me, that's a matter of semantics.
Well, that's
but
the truth.
The truth in public domain is it's been postponed indefinitely. That's a document that came from ODEC, the State Independent Electoral Commission. Now, let's talk about the independence of that commission. Many of the view that the IDAG administration is stifling ODEC. That's why it's been unable to conduct local government election. Is it true that it's not really an independent electoral commission? What's going on there?
That's not true. If you remember, election was conducted in 2020 by ODEC, and they did a very wonderful job in conducting that election. And we had our local government chairman sworn in, and they were there for 3 years. And after the expiration of their tenure, you know that it's a constitutional matter that we cannot elongate the tenure of the local government chairman. So at the expiration of their 3 years, they had to vacate. And if you understand what's going on in Ondo State right now, that during that time we had some tough times during the passing on of our former governor and all those things. Now, the ODEC is independent. They are very, very independent. I can tell you, as a commissioner in Ondo State, that Mr. Governor does not interfere with the affairs of ODEC.
Also, back in also too.
Yes.
It's not because Governor Aiyedatiwa is new on the seat and not with the full grasp of the local government. That's why the local government election did not hold.
No, that's not true. Governor Aiyedatiwa is a grassroots politician. He understands that. He has been a commissioner in NDDC before, you know that. Even he contested for the House of Rep and he contested for the Senate. So he is a thoroughbreed. He is a good politician. He understands the essence of the local government. But unfortunately, what is going on in the country right now has not allowed the ODEC to fully get ready for the election. But I can assure you,
what is happening in
election,
ODEC?
like I said before, when Ondo State, I think they wanted to conduct the election, but I think there was something in court that would prevent them from doing that. And Mr. Governor intervened. He intervened to make sure that we settled out of court. And they announced another day that we are going to do that. And unfortunately, the Supreme Court judgment and all those things came about. But now that the Supreme Court judgment has pronounced autonomy for the local government, definitely we have to conduct our local government.
How soon will that happen?
Well, I cannot tell you. It depends on so many things. If we interest you, we have about 21 or 27 states that are without elected local government chairman. And everybody is scrambling right now.
Currently, 14 of those states are now making efforts and have schedule of the time they want to conduct the election. Ondo State is not having a schedule yet.
Ondo State is coming up with something. Wait for that. The election will be announced very soon. And they are working on the modalities, they are working on the logistics and all that. You have to accept from me that it's not an easy thing to just plan an election today and go and do it tomorrow. More so that this year is the governorship election year. So we are going to be conducting 2 elections.
What is the level of influence that the Electoral Administration has on ODEC?
I cannot tell you that, but I don't think they have any adverse influence on ODEC. I think the relationship is cordial, and I think the relationship is ODEC is independent, Mr. Governor is the governor of Ondo State.
All right, your point is well made. Talking about constitutionality, you just referred to the decision of the Supreme Court. But before I go to the issue of the Supreme Court, here in Ondo State, a court of competent jurisdiction came up and said the circumstances surrounding the law, the local government law that gave birth to LCDAs, that it was not in order, and then declared it null and void. The Electoral Administration came up and set up transition committees for local government and the 33 LCDAs. Isn't that illegality in itself?
I do not think so. I'm not a legal practitioner. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to try to be one here.
Of course, just speaking as a layman, null and void.
My opinion as a layman is that the word transition is not caretaker. These are the people that will be there while we are conducting election to transit to the elected chairman and elected council. And at the same time, Ondo State has appealed that judgment. So I'm not sure if there's any stay of execution or whatever, but the appeal is there. And like I said before, Mr. Governor is cognizant of the fact that we have to conduct an election very soon. Now, I don't want to speculate, but I believe that there's a moratorium for about 3 months, 90 days, for the states to get themselves together so that they can conduct an election. And I think Ondo State is not going to be an exception.
What is the rationale behind the constitution of transition committees for LGAs and LCDAs, apart from saying that they must be there, that they really want to hand over to elected local government chairman? Are you saying that the heads of local government administrations that were in charge, they didn't do well, or they're not capable of doing well? Why do we need them? Because some feel that they are appointed for political reasons.
But let me tell you, the Constitution allows for political head in every local government. So if there was no need for a political head, then there wouldn't be a need for chairmen that are politicians to man the local government. So well, I want to be careful the way I say it, but a career officer cannot continue to man a local government. That would be illegality when the Constitution calls for a chairman to man the local government. And here we have a transition committee.
How political is the appointment?
They're not political. They are the regular appointment. They're the right thing to do. Transition committee to transition us into the election of the well-elected council chairman.
Many people believe that the appointment is because of grassroots work for political reasons, because we're in an election year.
Guess
what?
what? Many people will say different things, and many people will believe so many things. But what I'm saying to you is real, is factual, and I believe it makes sense to have a transition government at the local government level to transition into the elected.
Well,
chairman.
Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa is not a medical doctor.
No, he's not.
At the same time, he's not a teacher. And so, many would want to know, well, in his resume, of course, there is an aspect of his teaching experience, so maybe I could not categorically say
he's a teacher. Once a teacher, always a teacher. Okay.
But, is the Aiyedatiwa administration not interested in the health of the people? What has it done to improve the health of the people?
Okay, let me talk about that, but let me say something about the education aspect of our Ondo State. Currently, we're in the process of hiring 1,000 teachers for the primary schools. That's huge. We are in the process of hiring another 1,000 teachers for the secondary schools by TESCOM. That's huge. That will be 2,000 new teachers injected into the school system. Okay. Now, when you're talking about the health sector...
Just a moment before you go to the health, I wanted us to deal with the health sector before, but now you come to the education, so let's deal with it. You've talked about 1,000 teachers for primary school, 1,000 teachers for secondary school. Tests were conducted for those aspiring to become primary school teachers. What's delaying that of the secondary school?
It's not something that you can just do like that. And let me, probably you're still going to get there. It has to be well planned. You can't just roll out appointments of people. You have to make sure that the right people are hired for the right location. For example, primary school teachers. I'm from Ondo East. We want to be careful that we don't hire somebody that lives in Akure to go to Fagbo, for example, or somebody that lives in Ifedore to go to Asotan, for example. You know what that means. They will not stay there. They will not go there. So we want to make sure that those people that are hired to these localities, that they are the people that reside in the localities, so that we don't go back to square one again where people don't show up. The rate of absenteeism is going to be very, very high. So we don't want to do that. So it takes some good planning to do that. And that's what we are doing. Remember, we shortlisted people and they did the interview for the primary school, and now they are looking at those people to man. You have to understand that I believe the vacancies too. You got to look at the number of people that are qualified and the vacancies that we have. Exactly. So that's...
How soon with that of secondary school then see the light of the day?
Very, very soon. TESCOM is working on that. Very, very soon. I can assure you.
Before I go on a very short break, I'd like to know what's the disposition of the Ondo State government to the issue of local government autonomy. Do you really think this state government is ready for local government autonomy, especially with the way and manner it has mapped out its infrastructure intervention? Is there a way that local government will ever get autonomy in Ondo State?
Sir, let me say this. Like I said before, I'm not a lawyer. But I believe that it has become the law of the land. And Mr. Governor is a law-abiding governor. So there is nothing that will stop him from abiding with the law of the land. So the local government autonomy has come and it will stay, and Mr. Governor will respect that and do everything that he can to make sure that they succeed at the local government level. If the local government succeeds, Ondo State succeeds. Guess what? Ondo State is not an abstract. Okay? So the people from the local government make up this state. So it's in our interest. It's in the interest of Mr. Governor for the local government to succeed. So we just have to make sure that we have the right people manning the local government so that it can develop. You can't give what you don't have. So when the election comes, we got to make sure that we select during the primary process, and we elect those people that can really do justice to the administration of the local government.
Okay, health, they say, is wealth.
Yes.
To what extent has the administration of Aiyedatiwa taking cognizant attention, paid cognizant attention to the health of the people?
I think Mr. Governor has been so deliberate when it comes to the health sector. I can tell you categorically, if you go to the teaching hospital in Nakure here, is 90 or 98% completed. That was started by...
You mean just the building?
The building itself and the equipment and everything like that. So the former governor started it.
Are you saying equipment have been procured for that hospital?
It's in the process. At least the building must be ready before equipment are coming.
Okay.
So he has a plan to do that, and he has promised that he will not abandon them, and he has not abandoned it, and he will not abandon it. So it's like 90%, 98% completed right now. Now, in the health sector too, they are hiring doctors, nurses, health assistants, pharmacy technicians, and all that. I'm not a doctor, so I may not know all those names. But, you know, all these people, they are hiring right now, and the process is going on. In Ondo, Unimed, Mr. Governor, I think 1.2 billion, if I'm not wrong, or 1 billion for the construction of the buildings over there. So he's doing a lot in the health sector. Health is wealth, they say. Healthy citizens make healthy states. So it's in the interest of the state to make sure himself, let me tell you this, my brother, let me say this to you. God forbid somebody is sick today. Before you are flown to the United States or to London or to Paris or to anywhere, you have to be attended to at the local hospital. So it's in our interest, it's in the interest of Mr. Governor to make sure that the local hospitals are well equipped. Nobody knows who it may be. All right?
You've mentioned the hospital in Nakure, you've mentioned, Ondo.
Yes.
What is the fate of that poor woman in Akoko, in Zion Pepe?
I know. We have health centers in those areas. Every local government in Ondo State has 1, 2, or 3 health centers available to them. And that's what I'm saying about equipping all these health centers. Because if you live in Zion Pepe, like you said, and for some reason overnight you develop an ailment, before they bring you to Akure, something may have happened. So it's better for us to make sure that we equip the health center in Zion Pepe, a good building, equipment, and staffing, doctors, and everything there, so that we can attend to that situation before it becomes very terrible.
Otumba Wale Akinlosoti is the Commissioner for Information and Orientation in Ondo State. We've been taking a cursory look at the issues surrounding governance in Ondo State, especially in a year that's seen as an election year. Of course, it is an election year, but we'd like to know how far governance is also on course, despite preparation for a governorship election in the state. Let's quickly go on this very short break. When we return, we'll take a look at some other areas of governance, and then join us.
bí olódodo bá jọba ara tu aráàlú ìrọ̀rùn adé tọmọdé tàgbà àfòfáyọ̀ ọlọ́lá gómìnà wa nípínlẹ̀ Ondo Lucky Orímisàn Ayédàtiwa ìgbà yín san tó lórí tẹlẹmù nípínlẹ̀ Ondo ẹ mú ìgbà yín gbádùn àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ lọ́kùnkúndùn gbogbo òṣìṣẹ́ ìjọba ló ń gba ìgbéga wọn lásìkò àwọn òṣìṣẹ́ fẹ̀yìntì ń jayé ọlọ́ba gbogbo àjẹmọ́nú fáwọn òṣìṣẹ́ àti ẹ̀tọ́ wọn ní ẹ ò fi falẹ̀ rárá ìdánilẹ́kọ̀ọ́ lọ lóòrèkóòrè ọlọ́lá gómìnà wa nípínlẹ̀ Ondo Lucky Orímisàn Ayédàtiwa ẹ máa tẹ̀síwájú nínú iṣẹ́ rere tọ́lọ́run ọba mi rán yín sípínlẹ̀ Ondo kò ní rẹ̀yìn o eré Dàtiwa nípínlẹ̀ Ondo ìrọ̀rùn la fi lólé ayé wa o ó Dàtiwa ó di ìrọ̀rùn.
má bàjá o má bà bínú ọ̀nà lọ́rọ̀ bá ti rẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ èjú bàjá o ọ̀nà lọ́rọ̀ bá ti ṣe tiẹ̀. Èràbé má bàjá o má bà bínú ọ̀nà lọ́rọ̀ bá ti rẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ èjú bá jà o ọ̀nà lọ́rọ̀ bá ti ṣe tiẹ̀ èjú bá jà o.
Welcome back, everyone. It's the State of the State on this channel, and I've been hosting the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Otuba Wale Akinosotu. It's nice to have you in the studio with me.
Thank you very much.
Now, let's continue this conversation. And honestly speaking, I know that workers will not pardon me if I don't go this route at this point. The federal government has been on this matter for a while, and then recently there was an agreement to 70,000 naira as minimum wage in Nigeria to be reviewed in the next 3 years. What's the disposition of Ondo State government to the issue of minimum wage? How much is the Ondo State government ready to pay workers?
Mr. Governor has welcomed the 70,000 naira minimum wage. And let me remind you, and let me tell you this, we have a governor that believes in the welfare of the state workers. Without the state workers, the state is nothing. You know that. Nobody's going to be treating any files, nobody's going to do anything. But if you remember, even during the wage, the salary wage, palliative salary wage, something.
The wage award.
The wage award, thank you very much. Ondo State in the southwest is probably one of the only, except Lagos, one of the only states that paid the 35,000 naira. I can give you the statistic, but I don't want to go there. But we paid to the letter.
But eventually went ahead to cut it to 15,000 naira.
But let me tell you what it is. It was called palliative. And in my dictionary, palliative is something that is temporary, something to just come and do something for a short period of time. And even the federal government said it was going to be for only 6 months. And Mr. Governor did everything he could in Ondo State to make sure that he paid the 35,000. Now, instead of just taking it away, cold talking, he decided to reduce it so that he can win the people off that 35,000. And that's why he's paying 15,000. Go to the neighboring states, nobody is paying that anymore. And he's still paying for the retired workers and all those things. So the 70,000 naira, I believe that Ondo State will do everything we can to make sure that we adhere to the law of the land. It has now become the law of the land.
Interesting. Well, the state of insecurity in Ondo State is a call for concern, if you agree with me. A recent security scare in the state-owned Adekunle University at Mbakoko, where a student was sadly killed. We also have the issue of the recent kidnap of Komemba. Then you hear also of the burglary that happens in some shops and all that. Is Ondo State becoming a haven of criminals again?
So let me say this. Sometimes we may not praise ourselves, but I think it's important for us to say kudos where we are doing well. When we look at Ondo State in the Committee of States in Nigeria, I think we are probably one of the safest states in Nigeria. And when you look at the Amatekun core in the southwest, Ondo State has the most vibrant Amatekun core in Nigeria, or in the southwest. Now, you're talking about crime here, crime there. There is no way that we can eliminate crime. You will still find something, a pocket here, a pocket here, a pocket here. And that's exactly what is happening right now. Recently, Mr. Governor procured 25 high-grade hillocks.
Kò lè múnádóko tí a bá fún wọn.
Hillocks for the security agencies. I think it was about 2 weeks ago or something like that. For them to be able to do it.
Ọ̀nà mìíràn, a rí pé kò lè múnádóko tí a bá fún wọn ní.
He believed that, okay, let me say it this way. The first and the only responsibility of a state government is the security of lives and properties. If Ondo State is not secure,
gbogbo ìgbà tó náà la ṣe ra ètò tóbi tó a mọ̀ pé iṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe pọ̀ ìrìn tó máa ń rìn pọ̀ la ṣe ra àwọn ọkọ̀ tí ò lẹ́mìí eléyìí ọkọ̀ tá a.
to make sure, and it's not, security is not just for the state government. Security is not just for the security agencies. It's not for the police. It's not for the army. It's for me and you to make sure that we look at our environment and we study our environment. If you see something, say something. There is a toll.
fàgbà fún gómìnà Ayédàtiwa lẹ́ka ètò ààbò ọ̀gbẹ́ni Gbénga Àtìbà pẹ̀lú kọmíṣánná fún iléeṣẹ́ ọlọ́pàá Àbáyọ̀mí Ọládìpọ̀ dúpẹ́ púpọ̀ lọ́wọ́ gómìnà Ayédàtiwa fún ìfara.
It belongs to every one of us.
Well, I agree with you that it's a collective responsibility. But then I have reeled off to you 2-3 cases or more. But you've termed them pockets of crime.
Yeah, it's not something that
they are pockets does not mean that they should not be attended to. What's the Ondo State government going to do to ensure that, yes, it might not be easy to nip it in the bud entirely, but these things are becoming worrisome.
Yes, they are becoming worrisome, but at the same time, we got to understand that the state is doing everything he can, or it can. Mr. Governor is doing everything that he can, and that's why he gave 25 high-grade vehicles to the security agencies to help them to increase patrol at all times. And we have to talk to our people too. When you're talking about polio war just now, Adekunle, Ajasi and all that, we have to educate our people, we have to orientate them. All these cultists and all those things, people fighting among themselves, you know, so we really have to do a good job in trying to let them know that there is no benefit in being a cultist.
I think the message is well passed. Now, recently, Governor Lucky Ayédàtiwa did say that taxation is the blood of governance. Ondo State has been generating billions per month internally. And I'd like to know how this has translated into good governance. Or is it another way of saying that expect more taxation?
No, it has translated to good governance. If you ask workers of Ondo State today, they will tell you that they get paid, they get their salaries either the 24th or the 26th. It's no longer the 30th. We do not owe any worker in Ondo State. And that's the function
24th?
Yes, either 24th or 26th.
Okay, so it's 25th.
Before the 30th, everybody gets paid.
Oh, okay.
I get paid. You get paid. Everybody gets paid before then. Ask anybody in Ondo State today, Ondo State is not owing any salaries. And that's a function of taxation. And talking about that, recently Mr. Governor approved the hiring, and they have hired them. They are working right now, 165 workers in the ODIRS. Those are people that didn't have jobs before, and they are taken from the unemployment list now into a full employment list. That's big. And our IGR is climbing. I think the last time I checked, don't quote me and don't take me to this. I think it was about 3.3 billion. It may have gone up or something like that. But it's because of what we are doing. If we don't have all these things, how are we going to pay salaries? How are we going to procure vehicles for the security? How are we going to build hospitals? How are we going to fix roads? Potholes everywhere. Mr. Governor has approved funds to make sure that all these potholes are things of the past. So if we don't pay our taxes, how do we get money to do all these things? We want to enjoy the good life, but we have to pay for it. Not through our nose, but at least paying your little share.
Well, time is not on our side. There's so many things we still need to deal with. So, where many people have accused the present administration of over-concentrating governance at the central and sometimes tilting towards the southern senatorial district because the governor comes from there. How correct is this notion?
That's not correct. You got to understand the fact that diversification is very important, and we have to develop Ondo State to get out of the civil service mentality. Ondo State is known as a civil service state. Recently, to the glory of God, Ondo State, we were able to get the approval and the license for the seaport, deep sea port. And where is that located? It's in the south. And we have to develop that. And do you know what that would do to the economy of these states if we develop it? It's not because it's from the south. This license was procured, or the license was gotten during Akeredolu's regime. So Akeredolu was from Owo, not from the south. And Mr. Governor has said that he will not abandon wherever they started together. Remember, they were both on the ballot at that time, so it's still the same administration. So for us now to see what we can do to develop that area so that it can bring more employment to Ondo State. You know the employment opportunity that will bring, and you know the tourism potentials that will bring. We have a beach in Ararami, for example. It's one of the cleanest beaches in Nigeria. We have the longest coastline, 75 kilometers of coastline.
I have not also doubted what's happening in the south. And I've also not doubted what's happening in the central. What's happening in the north?
In the north, a lot is happening. I don't want to sound like, what's happening here, what's happening. There are developments coming up in the north. I don't have something to tell you that particularly this is happening here, this is happening here. And again, we have to give priorities. We understand that we have limited resources, and we have to give priorities to those things that if we develop quickly, that can yield some good results. So Mr. Governor is looking at all these things and prioritizing.
Are there no bad roads to be attended to in the north? Are there no need for potable water in the north?
Yeah.
What exactly is the administration having to do for every senatorial district of the state, apart from the central and the south?
Let me tell you, during the last State Executive Council meeting, we talked about that, and we have a list that every senatorial district is touched. Okay. The north, the central, the south, roads network, everybody will get something.
Well, young people are planning protests by the 1st of August. It's planned that it's going to span till the 10th of August. The federal government is appealing to them. Right. Many stakeholders are also appealing to them. Many are also feeling that there might be resistance from government forces. Will Ondo State government resist it?
Let me put it this way. Protest is a constitutional guaranteed something.
Right.
Thank you. It's a constitutionally guaranteed right for people to protest. But when you protest, you have to be orderly and you have to be peaceful. Protest is not when you go and destroy stuff. Guess what? If people protest and they come to Osrc right now and they destroy this whole building, who is going to build it again? We are going to build it, and we're going to build it from the resources of the state. So that's taken away from the resources of the state that we can put somewhere else into it. So we are appealing to our people. I know the federal government is working with them. I think they are dialoguing. I think they should listen to the federal government, to the president, and to the governors. Let's dialogue. Let's sit down and dialogue. There is nothing in protest, especially the NSAS. When that happened, a lot of people died. Those people are not alive today. Those people are somebody's children, right? So I appeal to our young people, our youths, to please be civil. There is nothing wrong in protest, but when you protest, be civil. Don't make it a protest that you destroy everything. We can't do that. But on those State, we not tell, we accord them. As a matter of fact, the CP will provide police and all that if eventually it happens. But I know that there will be dialogue and it may not happen.
Well, so far, the Aiyedatiwa administration has been on since December the 26th, if I get my date correctly, up until now. Can we point at high points of this administration since it has been?
There's so many things that this administration has done.
Of all of these things,
of all of these things,
would you say it's a high point in it?
Fixing the roads. I mean, everybody is going to benefit from the road. You know that. Building the hospitals that everybody will benefit from. Hiring teachers that will teach our children. everybody will benefit from that. It's not just a matter of political party, APC or PDP or whatever. Everybody goes to school, so everybody will benefit from that. The health sector, everybody will benefit from that. So he's doing a lot. There's so many things that here and there and there and there we're touching. Look at this 1 billion naira release for agricultural purchases. Everybody's going to benefit from that. Look at another 1 billion naira release approval for clearing of land for farmers. Farmers that have acres of land and all that, you can apply so that they can come and help you clear your farm so that you can farm. Everybody will benefit from all that. So many things are going on that Mr. Governor, in my books, will give him a pass mark in the last more than 6 months now that he has been there, and he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot.
Of course, you should give him a pass mark. They're part of the administration, so what do I expect him to do? But I'm more interested in something. You are careful with your choice of words, talking about these high points. And you're talking about release, and then you quickly came back to say approval. Yeah. You're a member of the State Executive Council, so I know you have your eye or the nose in this matter. I want to know, are these matters just for the media? Are they just approvals without release of funds? What exactly is going on?
No, they're not. Like I said before, I didn't want to use the word release because we just approved it, and it has to go through a process before the release can, because somebody can just call me, well, it has not been released or whatever. It's an approver, and it's going through the process. And let me tell you one thing, it's part of the prioritization that I talked about again, that Mr. Governor is looking at funding areas of necessity, areas that will bring the greatest yield to the people, and those are the things that he's doing. And very soon you'll see when we start rolling this out.
The Aida to administration is, of course, an APC-led government.
Yes.
It's an election year.
Right.
With the experience so far, do you think the governor stands any chance in this forthcoming election on November 16th?
You made me laugh. You made me laugh. Mr. Governor is well qualified.
I'm not doubting his qualification to stand for election. I'm talking about his acceptance by the people.
Oh, if you look at everywhere, every corner you go to is Ayedatiwa. Ondo State is lucky, not because his name is lucky, but Ondo State is lucky to have Lucky Orimiso Ayedatiwa as the governor at this time. And we know that for what he has done right now, why do you want to change a winning team? If it doesn't break, don't fix it. So let him continue to do what he's doing. Ondo State is going to be better for it. And I can tell you, he's very, very popular.
Opposition parties will not agree with you because many have also come on this show and they've talked about that the governor, or in this case, the candidate of your party, the APC, that he is not doing well in the eye of the people. Some have also talked about your party being depleted. Well, many of your party members are going into the PDP or NNPP. So what exactly is going on?
Well, guess what? You just said something. You said they are opposition. So no matter what you do in the face of opposition, it can never be right. That's exactly what is happening. Opposition will continue to oppose, isn't it? Isn't that the word opposition? To oppose people. So no matter what you do, even if you are good, even if you are doing well, you are doing the best you can, opposition will always oppose. So opposition is not popular in Ondo State. That is a given. APC is a popular party in Ondo State. And talking about defections and people going to another party is vice versa. We have so many people from PDP coming to APC on a daily basis. We have so many people from SDP coming to APC on a daily basis. NNPP or whatever the name is, they come to APC.
Are you saying also many are leaving your own party or all those parties?
I will not say that there is no defection from our party, but it's not as large as the people that are coming in. People, you know, they are free to go anywhere they go or they want to go. But APC in Ondo State is the ruling party. APC is popular in Ondo State, and APC will win the election come November 16.
Let me go personal somehow. You're a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Public Administration of Nigeria, and I'm wondering, what are you doing in the Information Ministry?
Information is not just information. It's information and orientation. So sometimes we forget about the orientation part. So the orientation is something that we are working on seriously. For example, the new national anthem is out. How many people can really recite it or sing it? The Ondo State anthem, I'm sure if we poll those people that are here right now, I'm not sure how many people can sing it successfully. And the mantra of Ondo State is Ishelugwishe. Now, I remember when I was in school, I remember that we have assembly time, that we have to recite all these things. Now in the public school, there's no more assembly time. People don't even understand it anymore. So these are the orientation part that we are trying to get our people to know. What will this do to our community and our state and our people is that the incidence of Yahoo boys will come down. I remember every time I called home, every time I called my mom would say, Wally, not your humanity won't shame. That's stuck in my head. So today, if we catch them young from primary school, secondary school, and they're able to recite Ishelogu, Ishemura, Ishere, Oremi, Ishelafin, Demigiga, that will let them know there is power in labor.
So if you are doing well in the Information and Orientation Ministry?
In labor. Yes, we are doing very well. We are doing very well.
Otunba Wale Akinlosoti is the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Orientation in Ondo State. In the last 50 minutes or thereabout, we've been talking about governance in Ondo State, cutting across critical sectors of human development. But before I let you go, I'm on a final note now. I don't know.
Final.
You are final. You are not named pastor of the Church of God. I don't know what you're looking for in politics. Many people say politics is a dirty game. So how dirty is it for a pastor like you?
No, it's not dirty. Let me say something. In the books of Proverbs 29:2, it says when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. When the wicked one rules, the people suffer. It's a calling and it's a ministry to be in politics. Politics is not a bad thing. Guess what? If we all stay away from politics, who is going to do it? And we're going to allow the bad people to continue to rule. And by the way, our Governor Lucky Oribison Ayedatiwa, is a pastor, is a wonderful pastor, and he's a governor. So I can see a mentor in him.
Wow, interesting. Thank you so much for coming on the Outlook.
Thank you.
Sit on the stage for this week. Thank you so much, Commissioner. It's nice having this conversation with you.
Nice.
I know we can have another time, maybe in the nearest future, to expand on all of these issues and see how far these things you've taught the people, how far your government is able to do them. And maybe there are also things you're not doing well. We want to talk about them. Everyone, thank you so much. This is the size of State of the State today. It's been an engaging engagement, and it promises to return next week, God willing. I am Sandy Kolawole. Enjoy the rest of the day.